I found it under the couch. Not mine. Not my roommate's. A sleek smartwatch, face cracked, battery low. I almost tossed it in the drawer and forgot. But then it vibrated. Workout complete. The screen flashed, last synced, April 3rd, 6:42 p.m. Only one workout was logged. Just one. A walk. Route saved. Heart rate tracked. Distance, 2.3 miles. Start location? My building. End location? A wooded trail on the outskirts of the city. And the woman wearing the watch? She hasn't come back. I'm not a cop. Not a private investigator. I write mysteries. Crime fiction. The kind where women survive and the truth always finds its way out. But lately, I've been struggling. Deadlines missed. Drafts abandoned. It felt like I'd lost my voice. And then, this watch showed up. It wasn't just a coincidence. Because I opened the app. And the user's profile? Aaron Cole. Age 29. Emergency contact, blank. There was a photo too. A selfie, casual, under warm light. But her eyes looked tired. I searched her name. No social media. No LinkedIn. No missing persons report. Nothing. Like she never existed. But her last location? It did. And if no one was looking for her, maybe I had to be the one who would. The route was still saved in the app. Thursday evening. 6:14 p.m. Aaron Cole's final walk. I followed it step by step. From a quiet street near the river. Past an old bookstore. Through a narrow alley I'd never noticed. And finally, to the edge of the park. The trail ended there. 6:41 p.m. Right at a bench overlooking the lake. Peaceful. Too peaceful. I sat down. Opened the app again. Watched the little red dot blink at the final point. Then a pop-up appeared. Audio auto-recording saved. I tapped play. First, just footsteps. Soft, steady. Then wind. Leaves. And then, a voice. Her voice. He's here again. Behind me. Not close, but it's him. I know it. She paused. I should have told someone. Another pause. A quick inhale. Then, if something happens to me, please check the bench. The lake bench. That was it. The clip ended at 6:44 p.m. She was reported missing at 9 p.m., when she didn't come home. And now I was sitting on that same bench. Where her walk had ended. But what chilled me more than the audio was what I found next. I drove home without music. Just the ticking sound of my hazard lights when I stopped too long at red lights. My mind kept replaying her voice. Not afraid. Not panicked. Just resigned. Like she knew no one would believe her until it was too late. I placed the watch on the kitchen table. Didn't touch it. Didn't want to. But 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown device detected nearby. Grant access? I froze. It wasn't the first alert. There had been one the night before, too. But I'd ignored it. Assumed it was my headphones. Or maybe my neighbor's. This time I checked the device name. EC06:44. Aaron Cole. 6:44 p.m. The timestamp from the audio. I didn't tap yes. Didn't tap no either. Just let it sit on screen like a loaded question. And then, another notification popped up. But not from the watch. From a camera app. One I didn't recognize. Motion detected in your living room. 2 minutes ago. I don't own a camera. I opened the app. A single thumbnail. Me. Standing in my kitchen. Right now. Except, I wasn't holding my phone. Someone else had taken the photo. I slammed the laptop shut. Checked the door. Locked. Checked the windows. Closed. Checked the watch. Still glowing on the table. Something wasn't right. Not just with the footage. With the whole day. I poured myself tea, hands shaking. Reached for the charger on my desk. And then I saw it. An email I never wrote. Draft saved at 3:12 a.m. No subject. No recipient. Just a single sentence typed in the body. She walked the same path you do. I stared at it. Scrolled down. Attached, a photo. Not Erin. Me. From last week. Standing near the park entrance. The one 2 blocks from my apartment. Same coat. Same angle. Same time as Erin's last recording. And suddenly, I remembered something. A woman on the bench that evening. Reading. Or pretending to. She never looked up when I passed. I hadn't thought of it since. But now, my blood ran cold. I wasn't just caught up in someone else's story. I was the next chapter. The next morning, I went to the cafe across from the park. They had Wi-Fi. Cameras. People. And most importantly, the kind of barista who notices everything. "Excuse me, do you recognize this woman?" I showed her the photo of Erin from the fitness app profile. She leaned in. Eyes narrowed. Then gave the smallest nod. She came in a few times. Always alone. Always distracted. Did she ever meet anyone? The barista thought. Actually, yeah. Once. She left a note with her order. "Do you still have it?" She shrugged. Not sure. But she went to check. When she came back, she was holding a folded napkin. On it, scrawled in blue ink. "If I don't come back, find someone named Ava." She knows. My name isn't Ava. But now I had to find her. Ava isn't a common name, but it's not impossible either. I searched it, paired with the neighborhood and the word missing. There she was. Ava Robbins. Disappeared 18 months ago. Same pattern. Last ping from her fitness tracker. Evening walk. Phone left at home. No footage. No witnesses. I pulled up a map. Ava's last known location. Erin's last GPS trace. And the park I walked through last night. All within 5 blocks of each other. That wasn't coincidence. It was a pattern. And if Erin had tried to leave a message for me, it meant I was already part of it. That night, I went back to the park. Same entrance. Same trail. Same flickering streetlight. I retraced Erin's final GPS route step by step. But something felt off. I passed the bench where her signal paused for 16 minutes. The one facing the trees. And then I saw it. Just past the bushes, a gap in the fence. Not broken. Loosened, deliberately. I slipped through. There was a path. Overgrown. Hidden by branches. And at the end of it, an old storage shed. I didn't plan to open it. I just did. Inside, it was dark. Dusty. But something caught the light. A stack of old fitness trackers. All the same model. 12 of them. Labeled in faint marker. Ava. Jordan. Beth. Erin. And below them, one more. Unlabeled. Still blinking. I stepped back, heart pounding. Whatever this was. Someone had been watching them. Tracking them. And now, they had a new name for the list. Mine. I didn't touch anything. I took one photo. Then I left the shed the way I found it. Back in my apartment, I locked the door. Closed the curtains. Checked every corner. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I turned off my phone. Not airplane mode. Not silent. Off. Because I kept thinking about that blinking tracker. And the one message that kept echoing in my mind. I never walked alone. I opened my laptop and pulled up the Smartwatch app again. This time, I went deeper, into the permissions. It wasn't just fitness data. It had microphone access. Location tracking down to the meter. A synced cloud account I didn't recognize. And then I saw the name of the app developer. It wasn't a fitness company. It was a private security firm. One I'd only heard about in old investigative forums. The kind that offers lifestyle monitoring to high-profile clients. Husbands. Executives. Wealthy men with secrets. Suddenly, this wasn't about a lost watch. It was about someone who wanted to keep a woman quiet. Permanently. And I just stepped into their system. At first, I thought the sound was in my head. A low buzz. Almost like a phone vibrating on wood. But it was coming from under my couch. I reached down, carefully, and pulled it out. The smartwatch. It was on again. Fully charged. No one had touched it. The screen lit up. Live call incoming. Unknown number. No option to decline. And then, it connected. No face. Just audio. A man's voice. Measured. Confident. You're curious. That's good. But curiosity has a cost. I stayed silent. He didn't wait. She didn't run. She walked straight into the dark. And now you're about to do the same. Then, static. The screen went black again. I threw the watch across the room. Watched it hit the wall. Watched it stay black. I should have called someone. The police. A friend. Anyone. But who would believe me? Who could I trust? When someone already knew everything about me? And that's when I saw the email. No subject. No text. Just a single attachment. A photo. My apartment. Taken from the outside. And in the window? Me. Right now. Looking at my screen. The photo shook me. But not as much as what came next. I grabbed the watch off the floor. It was cracked. Still warm. And that's when I saw it again. The step count from that night. It didn't stop at midnight. It stopped exactly 6 hours after she'd gone missing. At 5:47 a.m. But the location? It wasn't just unknown. It was blocked. Encrypted. Only one app could access it. A third-party emergency sync tool I hadn't noticed before. I opened it and paused. There was a single voice memo. Recorded the night she disappeared. Her voice. If you're hearing this, it means I did it. I got the watch out. A shaky breath. I can't run. He's always watching. But maybe someone else can see what I couldn't. Maybe she'll be smarter than I was. Then silence. Except for one more thing. The sound of footsteps. Fading fast. Like she was leaving it all behind. That's when I realized. She didn't lose the watch. She left it. For me. I traced the watch's last location again. This time, I bypassed the encryption. I'd forgotten I still had access to an old police case mapping tool. Left over from a research job I did years ago. Coordinates pinged a spot just outside the city. Abandoned industrial zone. No street name. No camera coverage. A place that didn't want to be remembered. I went at sunrise. Gray sky. Frost on the ground. I kept the watch in my pocket, like it was guiding me. There was only one building that still looked stable. The rest were crumbling into themselves. The warehouse door was chained shut. But loose, like someone had opened it before. Inside. Stacks of old office furniture. Broken lights. Dust thick enough to write a confession in. But on the far wall. A cot. A food wrapper. A burned-out phone charger. Someone had been here. Recently. And then I saw the message. Scratched into the concrete floor with something sharp. Not gone. Just hiding. I turned slowly. And in the far corner, under a tarp, was a small duffel bag. Inside? A notebook. 2 disposable phones. And a test. Positive. A secret she couldn't share. I didn't go home. Not yet. I checked one of the burner phones. Battery dead, but a SIM card was still inside. I ran the number through a database I probably shouldn't still have access to. One hit. A recent call, to a payphone. Downtown. I went. Didn't think. Didn't stop. And when I got there, she was already waiting. Sitting on the bench beside the booth, hoodie up, hands clasped over her stomach. The woman from the Smartwatch. From the walking route. From the night she vanished. She looked up when I approached. No surprise in her eyes. Just relief. Maybe even trust. You found the watch, she said softly. I found more than that, I answered. She nodded. I left it on purpose. Dropped it just before I left the building. Figured it might end up with someone who cared enough to follow it. I sat beside her, not saying anything for a minute. She took a breath. I had to disappear. He was watching everything. Everything I did was monitored. Your boyfriend? I asked. She shook her head. My boss. Then she added. I worked for a private security firm. He wasn't just paranoid, he was dangerous. And I knew too much. We sat there for nearly an hour. She told me everything. The hidden cameras. The internal surveillance systems. The compliance tests they ran on employees, especially women. She hadn't just run. She'd escaped. I didn't need to be rescued, she said, voice steady. I needed someone who'd believe me before I became another headline. And somehow, she'd chosen me. Maybe she'd read one of my books. Maybe she followed my blog. Or maybe she just knew what it looked like, the weight of carrying a truth too heavy to hold alone. Before we parted, she gave me another envelope. Inside. A flash drive. A list of names. Dates. Photos. And one sentence in her handwriting. If something happens to me again, don't let them bury it. I promised I wouldn't. And I meant it. I never published the story. Not as fiction. Not even under a pen name. Instead, I sent it, all of it, to someone I trusted in the press. And then I waited. 3 weeks later, the headline broke. Private security giant under investigation for internal surveillance abuse. They never mentioned her name. They didn't have to. But I knew. She was out there. Safe. Watching from the sidelines now, like I used to. And me? I started walking every morning. Same route. Same hour. Sometimes I glance over my shoulder. Sometimes I don't. But I always wear that smartwatch. Not to track time. To remember that the most dangerous stories are the ones that almost went untold.